Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis. I am joining a friend today, Les. He has been with us before. We touch base from time to time and have these tete-a-tetes about his career and the things that are going on. And I felt like it really wasn't appropriate to keep it our secret. I want to talk to you about some of the new music he's got out. He's going to share some too. And welcome, my friend.
Thank you so much.
Sure. And brother from another mother, I like to put it that way.
Yeah.
Talk to us, though, about just how you got interested in music to begin with and select your instrument, because to me, that's like one of the biggest starting points. And for many people, they may not be sure, or they may play multiple, and I know you do.
Yeah. I always tell people that music chose me.
Okay.
You have the choice to listen to that or not.
Right.
But I can't imagine a time where I was pondering if I should or shouldn't since birth. You know, coming from a musical family, my mother's a classical trained pianist and a vocal coach, choir director. My father plays guitar and piano and sings. Everyone in my family plays something, even if you just play in church.
Right.
So growing up in the musical environment is kind of, you just don't have a choice. You know, you're gonna pick something up.
Right.
And so I started with drums.
Right.
And then later on, vocals, bass, guitar, everything kind of took shape from there. But drums is where it all started for me. And I didn't choose it. It chose me.
Right.
And I remember my mother always sharing a story about my godbrother, who was probably in high school when I was a baby. He would babysit me, and he'll sit me in his lap and just kind of guide me around the drum set. The first time that happened, you could not take the sticks away from me. I would pitch a fit. And from then on, my parents said, okay, we might have something going on here. And that's where it all started.
Sure. And do you sense that that's a case with many musicians, especially true musicians, meaning that they can play various instruments or sing different parts, that sometimes it's just innate and it's a matter of sort of the duck to water. If I'm in the right environment, I will flourish from there.
Environment is very important. I think it's that way, not for all, because there's so many stories where I have friends who are phenomenal and gifted at what they do, and no one in their family can play a thing. So I really believe it's something that chooses you, and you just have to listen to it.
Right. And your journey wasn't mild at all or benign. I mean, you've been to Berkeley and had mentors there. Talk to us about that steadfastness to take it from, some might say, a hobby or something the family does to actually becoming, you know, your avocation and your career.
I believe that the difference, or I guess if it was to become a career choice versus a hobby, that's something that you know way early on. I knew that when I was in elementary school. I'll be in my room with, you know, the Walkman, telling my age now. But in my bedroom playing drums, I got Michael Jackson in my headphones, pretending I'm on stage playing behind him. So you know right away early on if that's something that you really want to do for a lifetime, or if it's just, okay, I like this, but I also like this over here. You know, so for me, it was definitely not a choice. It was, this is it.
Those 10,000 hours, those years of prep, do they make sort of those big moments where you're on really doable because you've essentially really prepped for it for years, not just for a matter of days?
Very much so. Very much so. I believe that's applies to everyone. You know, you have to put the time in, you have to put the hours in, the years in, because when it's time to show and prove, there might not be that much time to prepare and get stuff together, because you know, there's other things that come into play when those doors open, and you just got to go in there and rock and roll. So yeah, I mean, you have to definitely go the journey. There's no shortcuts. Yeah.
So you're doing your work, being very steadfast, very studious and things like that, and you have this amazing mentor, and he asks you to sub for him. What went through your mind, even before he told you exactly what that would entail and who you'd be working with?
That, amongst a list of other dreams and goals, was one of my dreams, was to be in a position where my teacher could call on me.
Right.
And trust me, you know, with something like that. Yeah.
Walk us through what he told you, what he asked you, and then how that unfolded in real time.
I think he had it in his mind early on. That's something that he wanted to do, starting me with Larry Graham.
Right.
So,
who's no slouch, by the way.
Larry is the godfather, you know.
Right.
And one of Prince's inspirations, of course,
Yes.
and one of mine now as well. Prince auditioned me to be Larry's drummer.
Right.
So I think Blackwell kind of had it orchestrated in his mind how he wanted that to play out.
Right.
He says, okay, well, Prince is going to see him with Larry. So he's going to get a taste of what's already brewing. Sure. And funny enough, it was undesirable circumstances where I had to come in to sub, because one of those times was when we lost my goddaughter, Gia Blackwell, who was Blackwell's firstborn daughter. Right. And she passed away during the musicology tour.
Oh, wow.
So Blackwell was on the road, and it was all over the news because Prince had to cancel so many shows due to it.
Right.
And you don't find too many artists doing that.
No.
You know, they're not going to cancel the shows for one musician in their band. They'll just get a replacement.
Right.
But Prince canceled every show that he could cancel.
Right.
Just to give him time to be with his family and just to, because he was also an integral part of the show.
Sure.
But there were some shows he could not cancel, and Essence Festival was one of them.
Right.
And so that's where they called me in and said, hey, we need you to step in. Blackwell is still going to try to play,
right,
but in the case something happens, we need you to step in.
Right.
So prior to Prince's show, the opening show is Larry, right, Shaka, Sheila E.
Right.
I have to play for the three of them.
Right. And
what people didn't know was the band was still Prince's band, including Prince, but everyone was wearing disguises. So we're doing the first half of the night.
Right. I
get off, and I already learned all of Blackwell's parts for Prince's actual set, which is about almost 3 hours long. Right. So I'm learning 2 shows, technically. Right. And at the end of the night, you start seeing reviews and stuff later on, and one article I saw said, man, that opening band was amazing. They were just as good as Prince. Right. Not realizing it was still Prince.
Right, sure, right.
But the fact that, you know, it was unforeseen and undesirable circumstances that, you know, happened during that moment, it was also a beautiful moment because the audience, they showed so much love, right, you know, given, you know, the situation. Sure. And they were screaming Gia's name because my teacher had a T-shirt, right, with her picture on it. Right. And they zoomed in, and everyone, the whole arena was like, Gia, Gia, Gia. And it was so beautiful. And it was all in Purple Rain. Right. But it was just an amazing thing. I know I kind of deviated from the question, but
no, that's good.
It was a lot that went into that that's personal. Sure. You know, absolutely. And of course we do this as business, but you know, these are our lives that, you know, we're talking about. So right. People think that, oh, you play for this person, you play for this person, but it's really about relationship. Sure. You know?
Absolutely. Talking of that relationship, tease that out for us a bit, just sort of some of the humor, the intensity, and all of the kind of showmanship of actually being in a room before we're on stage with Larry and Mr. Nelson.
There was a lot going on. Not too much to tell other than just I was focused on what I had to do for the show. Right. You know, yeah, more staying the time there. Right. I mean, I think Steven might have been hanging backstage too. Mm-hmm. So I mean, you had a little bit of everything happening, right, and I was just focused on making sure that I come in there correct. Right. You know, so I didn't really get in too much activity prior to the show. Sure.
And I mean, when you first met these young men, I'm talking about when you first met Larry.
Oh, well, that is a funny situation because at Paisley Park, I flew in, Prince flew me in,
Right.
and met me at the front door.
Right.
And he's looking me up, sizing me up, and he says, "You ready to jam?" I said, "Yeah, let's go." He said, "Get on the drums, get comfortable, and I'll be back."
Right.
About maybe 20 minutes later, he comes back in, and at the time, he was playing Warwick basses, and he had a bass that had a neck that looked like piano keys,
Right.
the black and white keys. So he grabbed that, and we just started jamming for about an hour or so. And then Larry walks in the room. He throws Larry the bass, he grabs a guitar, and we're rocking some James Brown grooves, some Jimi Hendrix, we're playing some Sly stuff, some Apprentice stuff. We just, they wanted to see how well I can hang.
Right.
They gave me a solo spot to do my thing.
Right.
And at the end of it, Larry just gave me a high five.
Right.
It was like, "You got the gig, young blood,"
Right.
you know. And yeah, that's some of the best, one of my favorite moments.
Sure. No, absolutely. Speaking of that, what did you sense or take away of his perfectionism, his personality, working with Prince? What was that sort of vibe like?
I mean, you don't stop till you get it right. That's really it. You know, don't accept anything less than what you're going for, and you just keep working at it. And that's a school that I come from already.
Right.
You know, I grew up that way. You know, even if it's one small part, you're gonna drill that thing for hours until it's within you. You don't stop. I don't care if you're hurt, your feet hurt, if you're tired, or if you're hungry. It's like, I came from that military, like, we're gonna go get it.
Right.
You know, almost animalistic type, you know, approach.
Sure.
You know, so he has that same, you know, mindset where we're gonna work on this thing, and we're gonna sweat, we're gonna bleed, we're gonna get it. You know, so I mean, for me, I think seeing that up close was like, okay, I'm on the right track. You know, so that's the biggest takeaway I got from that.
How did you sense that he would sort of come into that moment of saying, "We're here, we've got it, it's perfect"? Because for perfectionists, it seems many times that they can't ever feel like it's perfect.
Well, there's no such thing as perfect.
Right.
So it's more so, we're gonna do this till it feels right.
Right.
And what feels right to you may not be what feels right to me, but we're gonna work at it till it does. So it's not about it being perfect, it's more so just making sure that we're cohesive.
Right.
Because even in cohesiveness, there's imperfections,
Absolutely.
you know, and there's beauty in that,
Absolutely.
you know.
Now, you've translated a lot of this phenomenal experience into your career and your music. Talk to us about how that sort of experience began to evolve as you became sort of really your own man and your own performer.
Well, for years, it's always been Les, the drummer, the musical director, the MD, and supporting someone else's vision, you know, taking their vision and bringing it to light. And I think through that, there's another side that was starting to grow, where there are more things that I wanted to say personally, while working out those muscles behind other artists. Because before, I just cared about the drums. I was like, I want to be the best drummer I can be. I wanted to be the next Dennis or the next Tony Williams, or you know. But over time, I started to care less about that and more about song, you know, arrangements, and the role that each instrument plays into creating a beautiful body of work that people can enjoy. And then you live a little bit longer, and you start to have more experiences, and you start to have more things to talk about. So with the way things have been going on in the world, I'm very spiritual. And there's a lot of things that I feel people need to hear, you know, in terms of having the right state of mind, the right focus in life, and to uplift. So for me, it's just, I think it was a perfect step-by-step progression to becoming an artist. And I believe it was something that was always there, even as a child, because I sung as a child.
Right.
And I think I always wanted to, be in the front at some point, but just not knowing when I would tackle that. And now I can't stop writing.
Sure.
Got to put me in writing rehab after a while.
I love it. Talk to us about your project and how you titled it, as well as just some of the inspiration, what you hope people will obtain from listening.
Well, the title track of my new single is called Emerald City.
Yes.
Name of the record. And I named that because I believe that everyone should be able to create their own world. Yes. In the midst of whatever storm you're dealing with. I wanted to put a message out there that could uplift and motivate and still be musical, still be funky, but give food for thought. And I named it that because green's my favorite color.
Yes.
And emerald's my birthstone as well. So I've taken a liking to green for so long, but also the color means something to me. When you look at nature, the trees, the grass, springtime, things blooming and growing, it signifies so many different things. The trees clean the air.
Right, yes.
So I kind of got an attachment to just the color green, and I said, well, what would I do if I created my own world?
Right.
And I said, I want to create my own Emerald City, the same way, Michael Mike, Neverland Ranch or Prince Paisley Park, they created their own worlds.
Sure.
So I said, I can create mine. And it came at a dark moment in my life where I got fed up of being where I was. And I said, nothing's going to change if I don't do the work to do it, to change. Sometimes people get so stuck into where they are that they're waiting for something magically to happen, but you have to do the work to change your situation, and no one's going to do it for you. So you have to be willing, and you have to be fed up to get to that point. And I was fed up. I said, you know what, no more. And the lyrics for that song came right away. Life is what you want it to be. Create your own Emerald City despite your troubles. So no matter what storm you're going through, learn how to dance in the rain. Embrace that. Because you're going to push through if you embrace it. Don't run from it. So that's where the birth of that song came from, was just in that space.
Sure. No, that's wonderful and so powerful. What is one of those challenges, I'm sure there may have been a couple, that you feel, wow, I faced this and got through it. I didn't know this was so difficult to do, but that you had to go through in terms of birthing the project?
I'll say the biggest thing, my biggest struggle in my journey is grief. How to deal with loss. And prior to COVID, but COVID just
took it to another level. Literally.
So working on overcoming grief is one of the biggest hurdles, and you got to go to God with it. I just release it and give it to Him. You get so caught up in, man, I can't call this person again. I can't tell them I love them one more time, or I can't hang out with them. But you have to find a way to push through. And you have to also think about what that person would want you to do, and they will want you to push on, and go as high as you can. Starting with my teacher, Blackwell. When I lost him, 2017, 4th of July, my whole world just crumbled. And I threw my sticks on the floor. I was like, man, I'm done.
Wow.
But one of the things that has always stuck with me is my very first lesson with him. He says, I'm going to pour into you. I'm going to show you my journey. I'm going to give you a front row seat, but I want you to take what I'm showing you and do it better than me. Go higher, take it higher than what I took it. and you pass the torch.
True.
I remember that all these years, and that's what snapped me back, and I said, nope, he wouldn't want me to stop.
Right.
I got to keep going and pass it forward.
True.
You know.
And what is one of those lessons you might give to a young Les or a young drummer or a young music director that's coming up and same thing, may face various adversities or challenges, be they grief, be they challenges with the business side of things?
It's not going to be easy, and nothing in life ever is. Anything worth having is not going to be easy, but you have to be, your love for this music has to be greater than any fear, any scars or bruises you might get along the way. And as long as you have that and you focus on God, then you'll be good. You'll be good to go. Sure. Just don't lose sight of that. And also, most importantly, aside from keeping your eyes set on God and what His purpose is in using your gift, the biggest thing is definitely understanding what message you're putting out into the world. Because you can either do it for yourself or you can do it to heal and help others.
Right.
And to me, that's what it's ultimately about, is healing people,
No, I couldn't agree more. On that note, I'm going to flip our typical question and say, in what way has music been medicine that you've been able to share with others?
Definitely just inspiration. 100% inspiration, which is what Emerald City is about. I listen to it in the morning on the way to work. Sure. You get the extra boost of energy. You're like, man, I could take on everything.
You can do it.
So definitely inspiration and just giving food for thought. And when you have people in high spirits, they perform better. They put a little extra something in whatever they're doing because they're happy, they're motivated. Right. So music is definitely, medicine in that way. And also in frequencies. Sure. I don't want to get too deep into that, but when you have certain frequencies, sonic frequencies around you, that does something for your mood as well.
Right.
So there's healing in that.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, release the dopamine. Tell us where we can find your projects, find more about you, and continue to follow you. You
can definitely find me on Instagram, les.is.LRCFUNK. I'm on Facebook as well, same name, and YouTube channel is the same, Les LRCFUNK. And website is coming, is being revamped. Sure. So I got some new things on the way.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I love it.
To a brand new beat. It's the break of dawn and I've got sleep. A new day's here and I am so happy. See, yesterday won't bother me, 'cause living in the past hinders victory. Unless you right the wrongs to your truth urgency. Life is what you want it to be. Create your own emerald city. Despite trouble. For a stronger me, I can't be scared and be happy. Maximize the present for the future our children can see. I got my sticks and I'm ready to play. Liberated now with so much to say. I'm free with my drum 'cause now I know my place. Life is what you want it to be. Create your own emerald city. Despite trouble. Take control. Don't you wanna be free? Erase all negativity and take control. Oh, let it go. Let it go.
I would be remiss if we didn't first give a shout out to Michael Elder, who put us together.
Yes.
And talk to us a bit about, before we go, just funk itself and what it means to you and why you love that genre.
Well, funk, I mean, I love all genres.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I grew up in classical, playing in big bands. I played a lot of rock, church, but funk, I believe there's a funk in everything. There's a funk in blues, there's a funk in jazz. I always hear the funkiness inside of it. So for me, funk is about just making people dance, making them feel good, have a good time. And I believe that is in every style of music. There's a funk everywhere. You know, there's a funk in someone walking, you know, the pace, the way they move. There's a funk in the way people speak, you know, so that's what it means to me.
Sure.
Yeah.
And maybe a last question, when it comes time to sort of relax and, so to speak, let your hair down, what do you like to do that helps you to sort of just chill, take it easy, or step back from the intensity of everything that you have going on?
I love acai bowls.
Good. I love it.
I'm real simple. I don't require much, but give me a acai bowl on a rooftop, you know, nice weather, some sun.
Sure. Any particular ingredients you like to add in? I love them too.
Man, give me berries. I love berries. I'm a berry guy.
Yeah.
Some watermelon, some banana, some walnuts.
Sure.
I thought I was allergic at one point to nuts, and I think it was just a window I was going through. Now I can eat it with no problem.
Sure.
But yeah, you know, I love shooting pool.
Sure.
You know, billiards, just simple stuff. I love movies. So for me, and I think I'm still kind of studying when I watch movies.
Yes.
Because of the music and the scoring. So that's really it for me. I don't really require much.
Good. No, I love it. No, I love hearing that side of you and the music that you've been able to give us, and things you've done, the stages you performed on, and just that wealth of knowledge and experience, and then channeling it to, like you said, take your game higher. Definitely, I admire it. I see the drive. I see the encouragement, and I love that word that you chose, inspiration, because I think we can't have too much of that. We really can't. You can't hear somebody say, "I'm too inspired."
Exactly.
So
yeah, that's
it's
true.
wonderful. But yeah, thanks for being a friend. Thanks for always coming by when I give a call and things like that, and sharing your music with the world. I appreciate that.
Thank you, man.
Sure,
Anytime you call, I'm there.
Thanks.
Anytime.